Welcome to the latest episode of the Apartment Rebels podcast. So I am really excited to have Alex O'Brien, the co-founder and CEO of Cardinal Group. So former captain of the Marines.
Yep.
So you were stationed in San Diego for 7 years. So this is like a welcome home for you. So how does it feel to be back?
It's great. It's very nostalgic and it's fun. I actually just met with my team yesterday and was kind of give them a little bit of like the real deep cut Cardinal history, like not the stuff that makes the like highlight reel, but just like thinking back to being in the Marine Corps, getting out, we're young, we're trying to start Cardinal. We have this like dream and the four founders just kind of like working together and spare bedrooms and buying a single family house. So it's just, as you know, it's just time goes so fast. Yeah. And so, to kind of take a 15-year blink and say, 2006, I was sitting in this exact city, fresh out of the Marine Corps, like trying to figure out like what I wanted to do and how we were going to make Cardinal a success. And now to be here, and it's awesome. It's just really cool. It's like a dream come true. So
that is such an amazing journey. So you guys right now are number 42 on the NMHC like top. So that happened, like you said, like in the blink of an eye.
Feels like it, yeah. I always say we're an overnight success. Just took 15 years. Yeah, it's like people are like, "Oh, you guys came out of nowhere." I was like, "We've been working like 15-hour days for like our entire lives." But it's been really cool, and that the rankings and everything I think are important. We just have such an awesome team right now. So many exciting things going on. Like, people are just loving it. Like, everyone's engaged. It just feels great. And we're going through a lot of change right now, which I think is normal and kind of part of business. But I think to make the NMHC top 50 is, kind
of like a checklist.
But certainly not how we're measuring success, and we're certainly not done. So I don't know where we'll be on some list of rankings, like our unit size. I mean, we hold ourselves to a lot, different measurement of success, and so while we think that unit count will keep going up and up and up, there's a lot bigger things we care about. So.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. And the big reason why I wanted to really talk to you is you guys have risen very quickly, but obviously that was a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
But what I really admire most about Cardinal Group is that you guys have a really strong employee brand.
Yeah.
So if you go on LinkedIn, I constantly see your employees shouting out about the culture, someone getting promoted, and just celebrating each other. And I think it's so amazing. And I also see that from them as well. So many of your posts are around employees, the culture, and things that you are looking to do. So to kind of take a step back, we'd love to know how you went from the Marines to, let's start a property management company.
Yeah.
What was that trigger?
Yeah. Well, I actually had a job out of the Marine Corps, and I was in real estate consulting, which is funny because I didn't know anything. So I was like, I don't know who would pay me to do something, but I learned really quickly I was unemployable because the standards I had from the Marine Corps in terms of what esprit de corps and morale and engagement and what it meant to feel like you were part of something. I felt like I was just going to have to recreate that. And I loved being a Marine. I love the feeling that everyone there is putting the team first and the mission first. And you're passionate. You felt like you're kind of part of something. And I had a few jobs very quickly out of the Marine Corps. And I was like, this ain't going to work. I'm going to have to start something. And so from day one, and luckily I found great partners that had that same passion for people. But from day one, I mean, we were really defining what did we want Cardinal Group to be. It happened to be in real estate, but what kind of company did we want to have? And it was all about this place of engagement and where you'd say, I'm proud to work here. Questions like that of what would it mean to truly create this not to use a military term, but this army of engaged people who love their job, they love each other, and they believed in the mission of the organization. And so we were very intentional because it mattered to us. And I think it's hard to fake. I think we are in this age of authenticity. Our chief people officer, Peter Lynch, talks a lot about that of you got to be authentic about it. And certainly we've made mistakes on the way and disappointed people and all this stuff. And it's just like, but at the end of the day, we always cared. And I think when that true north is constantly there, like you can create a company like we've created in which, people love to work there. And it's awesome. It's awesome to say that, we're making people's lives better by working at Cardinal Group.
Yeah.
It's like, what more could you want?
Exactly. And I love that. So it sounds like for you all, the first question wasn't, let's start a company in this specific industry. It was more like, let's start a company that has these elements.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter like what you might do.
Yeah. People are like, why'd you do student housing? I was like, well, we were 25 years old. And the only thing we knew was that we had gone to college. And so we're like, kind of a covet what you know strategy. And, there's a lot more to go into that. Like, to really give my partners credit, like we worked really hard. People act like we, kind of lucked our way into it. It's like we were relentless. We're still relentless. Like we're tenacious. And, but we knew the kind of company we wanted before we had clarity on all these other strategies of, it's going to be value add multifamily in these cities. It's going to be student housing. We're going to have a marketing arm. We're going to have a construction. It's like all the business tactics kind of came together. But really we always knew like we want a place that people are proud to work, and we want to be the employer of choice in an industry. And we chose this industry, and I'm glad we did. And I think we're still on our journey to get there. So
I love that. And it just makes so much sense, like why their employees are so proud to work for Cardinal, because that was like the foundation. Yeah. So I think that's just like so interesting. It wasn't about like a specific industry. It was more like creating a culture at the start.
It's hard, and there's actually a downside to it. And I was like, imagine there's a restaurant and you've heard from everyone it's the best food in Chicago. I don't know, there probably is a place like that, near your house, but the expectations are so high. And I always tell people, especially our leadership team, when you join here, it's like people are joining this company expecting to be amazed and expecting to be fulfilled and have their cup filled up. And I was like, it's hard, man. It's hard, especially as you grow, and it's not hundreds of people, it's thousands of people. And so I always tell my team it's hard, but it's worth it. Like what we're doing matters, and we're on a mission to change what it means to have a place you love to work. But it's not easy to do. And so it's funny as you say all these people love working at Cardinal, like my mind immediately jumps to like, we've let people down too, and it's hard, and, good companies care when they let people down, but
I feel like that's like a true entrepreneurial mindset where you always think about like the bad thing about it. You're like, oh, well, it's great, but I think about all these like things.
Gambler's dilemma. Well.
Yeah.
The few hands you lost versus the hundreds you won.
Yeah. So who are your three co-founders?
All right, so there's
meet.
So we all met here in San Diego, all kind of a loose connection of relationships. And so Del DeWentz, who is our first CEO, co-founder, he's actually in the kind of construction tech space. So left Cardinal in 2020 after 15 years, which was just really cool, all the stuff we did together. Eric Frank and Jason Luker, both still here, both run the investment side of our business. And so, we've not just grown our property management arm, we've continued to focus on investment. We're launching a development vertical right now. So we have about 2,500 team members, and within that, there's all the different things we're doing. Our investment team's grown to 20, 25 people. So really excited to see Jason and Eric's journey of, and they're awesome too. I mean, people, I think Del and I got a lot of credit along the way, but like they're just as much of the culture. Because they were humble, and at times which we needed to put certain parts of the business first, they were like, hey, like do what we need to do on the management side to grow and put resources there, and we'll go without so that this part of the company can really get strong. And so it's been a great partnership. Really proud of the whole team, and we've brought on amazing people too. I mean, we don't look at it as like the four of us founded it, now the three of us run it. It's like, there's hundreds of people that go into making the Cardinal culture like real and important, and there's thousands of people who live it every day. So we're trying to get to a point where we're like a little tiny piece of like all this like excitement happening. So.
Yeah. But how did you guys like meet initially? And
Yeah, so here in San Diego, so Dell and I had a mutual friend that was actually part of Cardinal for the first couple years. Dell and Jason had both graduated from Stanford. So a little trivia, the Stanford Cardinal, that's actually where our name came from, the Cardinal Group.
Oh, got it.
Not the bird, although they were hard selling me on I was like, we know what it is.
Yeah.
And then Jason and Eric actually went to a Masters of Real Estate program together. And so people were like, oh, you guys started the business with friends. It's like, we really weren't friends. We were friendly and we had a lot of respect for each other and we enjoyed each other. But we were really focused on building a business together. And I think that was really, we made it work, like for 15 years and on, like we've just made the partnership work. And we've always put the best interest of Cardinal first. And so, yeah, it's been cool and cool to think that those loose connections turned into this business that now provides housing for, over 100,000 people and employs thousands of people. And so, yeah,
it has to be
pretty
such
wild.
A cool feeling.
Yeah.
So I assume it wasn't.
It's cool, but we're just getting started.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I feel. It's like, we're at the starting line right now. Like we're about to do some really cool stuff. And so, I know I need to stop and smell the roses more. And like, everyone's always like, aren't you proud? I'm like, I am. But I'm also like so excited to keep going. I'm like, let's go. Let's go.
Next stage,
so, yeah.
But I imagine like during that, the 15 years prior, what were some of those like, oh my God moments for you all? Like as an entrepreneur, I know how hard it can be. Like what were some of those like, holy shit?
Certainly the first time we raised, outside capital, we started friends and family and we wanted to buy a student housing deal in Athens, Georgia, which is our first like apartment community. And we needed to raise $1.8 million. And we're like, who the hell is going to give us freaking money? And, in like looking back, that might've been the hardest million that we ever raised. And now we've obviously raised hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, and bought real estate and invested. And, but to look back, it's like, such like pivotal moments. We actually had this chant we used to do, one more deal. Well, because it's like the company's always so fragile. Like people who didn't start their own business might not realize, and then people do amazing things. That's not a shot against them, but it's like businesses are so fragile.
Yeah, like every single moment.
Every time we'd have any win, we're like, all right, we still might go out of business, so we need one more deal. And it was like this like hilarious joke. Recently, now we're huge. We have, huge and growing, and we feel like we're still like, I think we need one more deal. It's like, but
it sounds like you guys could use just.
I think on the third-party management side, we hired one of our partners nearly 9 years ago, a guy named Eddie Moreno, has been a big part of our growth, and just having him join now, and when you look back, it's like that was a huge move. We probably look at like, the clients are super important and their customers are business, raising the money, super important, but like it's really been the people we've attracted, to look at every step of our journey and to say, like, who can help us get to that next level, and to see people all over the place just join our company and say, I believe in you. I believe in this company. I want to be a part of it. And so I guess like all the big moments probably have like a person tied to it, and so each of their stories impacted the overall Cardinal story. The I's were the we's, because each person's contribution and joining and what they did kind of ultimately led us to where we are today. And I expect that to continue as we go.
So I'm curious, one of the things that I said, like I really admire about Cardinal is like that employee culture. So how were you all able to build that? So when you think about your employee brand, and what the culture is, like how do you guys define it, and how do you actually go about creating that on?
I think that like I said about the Marine Corps, like you got to be mission minded. You got to be thinking about like, what are we doing, why are we doing this? Like, in the Marine Corps we'd actually call it commander's intent, because your plans always like went to shit, like nothing happened like you wanted it to. So it's like, what are we doing, why are we doing this? Like, and then when the whole plan breaks down, like remember what the commander's intent was. And so I think mission really matters. And if you look at a lot of companies' missions, you learn a lot about them. But, ours was very clear to be the best place to work in any industry. And in 2019, we added the words for anyone, which was actually our commitment then and continues to be about diversity and inclusion and safety. Safety is so big to me. Equity, to say like, maybe early on we were a great place to work for some people, but there was gaps there. As we started listening to our team members, we were like, for our mission to truly be the best place to work, it has to be for anyone who joins this team. And so we like recommitted to that in 2019. It's been a huge part of our success the last few years. And so I think you have to obsess, like people are always like, you're obsessed. I'm like, I am obsessed with what it means to work at Cardinal Group. And so leaders have to accept that the culture starts with you, but it can't end with you, And so I do an onboarding call. Every person joins Cardinal, I jump on a call and welcome to the team. And some weeks it's like 20 people, some weeks it's 2, which is probably awkward for them. I'm like, what's up? They're like, do I have to talk? What questions do you have? They're like, I just got here. I don't know. Like,
this is literally my second day
where's
here.
the bathroom? I don't know. But just kind of obsessing with that, like team member experience. Like, what does it mean? What does it mean to join here? Are you celebrated? Are you encouraged? Are you encouraged to bring your whole self to work? And so, I think just listening and just making sure you never lose track of that, And so it's hard to fake, man. I mean, a lot of groups are like, we have a great culture too. Everyone says that, it's like, but you got to do it. You got to live it. And so, but what I tell people in that call is that, I said, who here said they're joining because of culture, and like some people, everyone raised their hand, they said, and I said, all right, I got bad news. Now it's your responsibility. And it's like, it's not my responsibility only to make this the best place to work. It's each other. It's all about our actions and behavior. So, if you're going to gossip about a team member, you're going to talk shit, you ain't going to help them. You ain't going to stay and help them train. You ain't going to get their back. You're going to, if you fail, you're going to get on them instead of helping them up. It's like, well, then you're not part of this culture, And so these core values matter. These are the behaviors we care about. And so now that you've joined and you've signed up, you've committed to this. And I think that you gotta engage an army of people. It's not the three. It's not me and Peter, our chief culture officer, and the leaders, the property management leaders, and Eric and Jason. It's everyone. It's everyone. And that commitment, that accountability. And so, we're all about mobilizing people and getting everyone excited. So I think those people they're taking that accountability seriously, and they're celebrating. It's like they're proud. They're contributing to the culture and they want to share it. I think that's so cool. It's like, you should be proud. Like, you're helping a team member grow and achieve and have a better work experience. Like, go shout it, go be proud. Like, that's awesome. Like, and so I just love like that mutual accountability of every team member to the culture. And it's so strong. So.
Yeah. And then, so from a business perspective, like, what have been some of those results of that incredibly strong focus on culture? Is it like lower or higher retention?
Higher retention, which has been great, especially during COVID. We actually nationally recognized as for this program we ran called the Cardinal Heroes, which was really about just thanking and loving on our on-site teams for all they were doing as essential employees. But it's really interesting because I always say you join a company for the brand and the culture. You kind of stay for the manager, the pay, the opportunity. There's a lot that goes into a career. It's like you could have a great culture and people still leave because they're like, my partner's moving here, or I got to go see about this, or this other company, which is also good, offered me a promotion. That's all good. I always tell people, you're the author of your own career, story. So it's not just retention. I think it's attraction, and so our average time to fill is 50% of the industry average.
Wow.
Our number of applicants is like 4 times the industry average. And so I think the same thing you're seeing, the labor markets are seeing and saying, I want to be a part of that. And that's not just on-site teams, that's regionals, that's investment professionals, that's executives. We've hired, our executive team's awesome, and it's all people who had other amazing opportunities, just said, I'm willing to leave to be a part of what you're doing. And so I think that it attracts people with the culture, but they stay because of their manager, because of leadership, because of opportunity. And so, retention's a small part of it. It's really just how many people are knocking on our door saying, I want to be a part of Cardinal, which is awesome. And our clients benefit from it. Our communities benefit from it. So.
Oh, that's amazing. And that's one thing I didn't really think about, like from the employee side. It's not just about like retention, but it is like increasing the number of people that want to fill a role, which just makes things so much easier. Because right now in the industry, you talk to anyone and everyone is struggling to fill roles.
Hard to find good people. I don't like that. Actually, there's a ton of good people out there. I hate when people say, hard to find good people. I was like, yeah, no, there's amazing people out there. But it's hard. The last couple of years, people were moving around. People were scared. Think about that. I mean, COVID was nuts. And so to think about like creating safety, like the brand, it was amazing during COVID. Like so many people would call and say like, I want my company to care about me like I've heard Cardinal does. I was like, how cool is that? Like people are coming to us saying like, I want to feel that. I want to feel that you're going to take care of me and nurture me and like make this safety. That's really, it's emotional, man. Like these are people's lives and they're entrusting their careers, which is a big part of our life, with us. And it's like, and so I always tell people like, I don't care how long you stay. I hope it's many, many years, but even if it's 1 or 2, I just want you to be like, that was the best damn time of my career. I loved it. That's my goal, is that if it's 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, I just want people to feel like I grew more than I ever thought I would at this company. And and we get to say that a lot, which feels good. So as like we are very much a startup, like a very small team, and it's easy to try to create a culture with a small group of people. So for you all, like as you have grown and scaled up, what have been some of the challenges to maintain that culture with right now having like 2,500 employees? Yeah. Imagine it is not easy. Yeah. Well, one, I applaud you for focusing on it. Like big, small, you just got to focus on it, So hopefully I look back at like, what were those foundational things we did at 4 people and 10 and 20 that we're still doing today? So you got to keep doing that. You can't let those fade. I hear people sometimes like, I hate Cardinal. I'm like, no, you don't. You hate your manager. Like, stop. It's like, and that's just the truth. I say it tongue in cheek, but like, the hardest thing is to continue to equip managers. And you've probably heard this, like the opposite of quality is variance. When stuff's like this, well, it might be good, it might be bad. It's like, you want it predictably good. And I think we really are focused right now on like, how do we arm our managers, our leaders to make sure they can bring the culture to life and create great work experience. And obviously, when you need hundreds and hundreds of managers, like, there's a quality spread, there's a lot of training, there's just a lot that goes into that. So we're really focused on, the manager effectiveness, the leadership training, the coaching, the mentorship. Like what can we do to make sure, especially a first-time manager feels they've given me all the tools to take care of my people. And we just want people to say, yeah, like this company's doing that.
So how does all of that then translate into the resident experience? Yeah. So obviously it's very clear that if your employees are happy, they are going to show up well for your customers. For you all, like how have you kind of seen that manifest?
I love that, Richard Branson said, you take care of your employees take care of your customers. And we actually kind of missed that part. I talked about the mission statement earlier. We kind of had this like, to be the best place to work in any industry for anyone. And we added the words in 2021 to so that we can create communities where our residents thrive.
Like, we also actually provide housing to people.
Oh my gosh, I think we forgot.
That one.
Well, again, we didn't forget it. We just weren't intentional, and we forgot to say like, we're trying to make your cup overflow so that it flows on to the residents in our communities, and like that same joy you bring to work, you don't keep it, you pass it along. And so, how do you create people who also obsess with that? Like, I want the resident to say, I love living here, just like I want to say I love working here. And so, really focus on that. We obviously use a lot of measurements on Aura scores and, reputation scores, what our residents are telling us, retention rates of the resident. I mean, there's a lot of ways I think we can measure if we're doing a good job for our residents. But like, I love that you brought that up, because sometimes you forget that like every business exists for its customers, And one of the ways we've chosen to compete is by creating a great workplace to be the employer of choice. But that still doesn't change the fact that we exist for the residents. Like, that's why we're here. And so we wanted to be very intentional and bring that language and that focus and that same excitement of like, almost you owe it to the resident. Like, we're going to do everything we can to make your work experience great. And now you got to pay that to the resident. Okay. And so, like, always keeping that obsession for the resident in mind. We'll obsess over the team member experience. You got to obsess over the resident experience. And it's been a really healthy maturation for us as a business, you know, to really add and focus the organization on our residents. And so I love that you brought that up, because it's been, you know, like, if you go on our website, you'll have seen that, like, those words have been updated to include. I love that word thrive too. It's just, like, so powerful. Like, you know, really where people are like, my life's better because I live at a Cardinal managed property. As, like, cheesy and wonky as that sounds, if that's true, you're changing the world, you know? And so I was like, let's make that true. You know, let's make that passion for our residents real. So
yeah, and it makes total sense. Like, for housing, that's where you spend so much time.
Yeah.
So you do
what
living environment.
What thing more human can you do than provide housing? And we're all part of it. You know, that's why I tell our team, like, if you're running search engine optimization, you're part of it. You're helping people find a home. If you turn in rents, you're part of it. Like, you're cleaning the community, you're part of it. You're leasing, you're helping someone choose the best home for them. It's like we're all part of this, and it all comes back to we're providing housing. Like, that's super cool. It's like I don't know, like, I love being in this business, like, and I think any business I was in, I would ask, am I making a difference? And I think if you work in this industry, you don't have to ask that. You know, like, you're making a difference. Like,
So as the CEO, like, how has your role evolved from when you all had like 15 employees to now having like 2,500 employees? Like, how have your role and responsibilities like changed?
Yeah. Well, I think the CEO is still responsible for the culture of the business. And I feel like I'm ultimately responsible for having the right people in the right seats. And that feels good because I've done that, and we have great people, great executive team, great VPs, directors, portfolio and regional managers. Like, we've built a really strong team. And so I think I've really just gone to that focus of, like, put the right team in place and then let them kind of work together. And I'll kind of continue to, you know, I don't call out the rowing commands, but I want to make sure everyone's rowing together, you know, and to say, we're going that direction. And the path might look a little bit like that, but that's where we're going. So, like, let's all do this together and row and row and run. So, you know, I kind of view that as, like, I don't like the word cheerleader necessarily, but, like, really trying to unite people around the mission and vision of Cardinal Group, and then let them, like, just go nuts, man, and go do big shit, and, like, you know, like, work together and slay dragons and do cool stuff, man. So it's you know,
sounds a little bit like a cheerleader, though.
Yeah, no, so I was like, I don't like that word, but I did. It's fine. It's what it is, you know. But it's like, let's go that way. Like, we're going, and so. And we have a great team. I'm so humbled every time I look at our roster, both past and present, just people who have come through and people who are here and people who will continue to be here. It's like, damn, man. I was like, I don't know how we got so blessed to have these amazing people believe in us, believe in Cardinal, want to be a part of this. Like, and so I take that role very seriously.
I think you answered that question from the beginning. It's like, you guys set the foundation, like, right from the beginning.
Yeah,
it's just,
that's
like,
a good point.
Continue to work.
Entrepreneurs got to do that, you know, that foundational piece. So
that's awesome. So what's, like, next for Cardinal?
Oh gosh, so much exciting things. So really expanding our investment team. So we're not just doing student housing, doing market rate housing. We just brought on a head of development, so we're launching Cardinal Group Development. We've always viewed that as, like, part of our big strategy for our customers to say, we can buy it, we can manage it, we can renovate it, we can offer these services to the third-party market, but ultimately, like, we kind of have a full stack of services, and so we're excited. We just brought on a great SVP, head of development, just joined our team recently. We brought on a new head of market rate housing. So we've always done conventional, but we really view now as a great way to go from that kind of 10,000 unit to, like, really expand that business. And so brought on a great leader. She's just so amazing. She's actually here. We were talking over coffee. She was, like, totally getting me pumped up, which, you know, I kind of pumped myself up, but she was getting me so excited, just, like, hearing her vision of, like, how she wants to lead the team and take our brand and what Cardinal's been able to do and, like, really push that into the market rate. And we like to work hard, we like to win, we like to earn it. So Yeah, really in student housing, you know, which has been our bread and butter for a long time, like built the best team in the business, great brand. I mean, you know, I always joke like we're kind of fast tracked to the best and final. Like we just built like our reputation of success and performance and client management. It's like we've done such a good job. I'm so proud of that team. But I think student housing, it's interesting. It's kind of consolidating a little bit, you know, the last couple of years, but I think we're going to be a big household name there. So I would say what's next, you know, more of the same there, and then adding on things like, you know, the market rate focus. We launched an affordable housing partnership last year, which will be, you know, that kind of 7 to 10,000 unit range by the end of this year. And we love that. I mean, gosh, to be able to provide quality housing to just hardworking people, they might need a little assistance. I hate the stigma sometimes on affordable housing. Like, it's awesome. Like, these are amazing people that deserve dignity and respect, especially in their housing choice. And so we launched a national partnership there. And we actually selected because not we knew a ton about affordable housing, but they're like, the leadership and the brand and the culture of Cardinal, that's what affordable housing needs. They need that same love for the residents and people. Like, we can do the compliance piece. Like, we need that heart in affordable housing. Care. So it's been awesome, like, to see how our brand can translate into other housing sectors and stuff. Hey man, I said it. Like, we're just getting started.
And like I said it,
like,
I'm a super fan.
Like,
I think you guys have done
started,
such an awesome job.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for being on our podcast.
This is cool.
I'll be a cheerleader from the sidelines. But you guys have done such a fantastic job.
Yeah. Is there like a rebel like ending to this?
I think it's that simple as a high five.
All right. Thank you. Good to see you, my friend.
Yeah.